Good evening. Whatever time of day it is isn't really relative to who you and I really are. There's no day or night for that. The light always shines regardless. So, what can I bring to you today except my own meditation, the things I'm working through? Sometimes it gets rather heavy in your heart or your energies, or you feel pulled down by something or things that you're learning, or God forbid you spent some time with the media. That will pull anyone down. But anyway, I have a tendency to not run away from such feelings. And there are times when it will seem to drag on for a number of days and you just get tired of it. And I think there are times when I'm kidding myself about being willing to be with it. And so I thought I'd come and share. Mostly people go around all their lives in the mind. That's just where we abide. That's how the society is built and put together and maintained. And there aren't many opportunities that we don't reach out and grab for ourselves to step out of that. We could call it the matrix. And so the tendency is to stay plugged into it. And yet we feel this pull in our soul, in our heart, in our being somehow. And so we have a deeper intuitive intelligence working there. And we come more and more as we're on the spiritual path, I'll use those words, to listen to that, to pay it heed. And if we're smart, to identify with that more than with the mind. That has a more real feeling to it. And well, it should. I mean, the soul versus the mind. Well, it should. Okay. So sometimes when I tell people that my work here is to take people by the hand and lead them from the head into the heart, it's not easily done until it is. I mean, at the point that it clicks, that's beautiful. And then you look back and you laugh and you realize, oh my God, it really wasn't so hard. It was there all along and all of that. But that doesn't do you any good to hear that kind of talk when you're sitting there frustrated as can be in the mind and wondering, how the heck do I get out of here? It's a dungeon. It's a prison. Life is miserable. Yada, yada, yada. We have all been there. And, that's a viable reality. That's a viable perspective. But it's a mind perspective. So how switch that out for the heart? Well, of course, the kicker is when you're told, or when you learn, when you come to finally accept that you can't take your mind with you into the heart. The mind's ways are not the heart's ways. And so it's an oil and water thing, never the two shall mix, that I have experienced yet. Which isn't to say I know everything. I'm never saying that, okay? Anyway, all I can do is share my own path here. You know that. All right, so people want a shortcut. They say, hey, uncle, give me a hand, reach out to me here. Okay. New perspectives are always my joy, and this one really is a new one, but let's take a walk here. First of all, just anchor your awareness in the middle of your chest. Just put your attention there, that's all. pretend like you're taking each breath through the heart space there. You breathe in through it and out through it. I used to pull up a chair in the heart. That's what I would do. I would close my eyes and I would pretend to be seated on a chair in the center of my chest. You know, other times I would pretend to be seated on a chair in the area of my third eye and looking at a screen before me. And so, you know, do that if it works. Do whatever works for you. I mean, your inner self, your higher self, your guides are right there with great ideas and guidance if you'll just tune in, let go, and not pay so much attention to mind. Mind will jabber on endlessly. Well, that's okay. Just start to ignore it. And just keep centering in the chest. All right, now, the shortest way out there to where you want to be is to go within. And the shortest distance is to befriend your own feelings. And it seems to me you'll need some privacy to do this. But no matter what the feeling is that's hanging around, and you won't have any problem with the good ones, you know, but the heavier ones, no matter what it is, the thing is to be with it. And that's not too terribly hard to do. Once you accept that the feeling has a right to be, you know, and that it has something to offer you. It comes bearing gifts of some kind or another. And so instead of trying to medicate it, run from it, get distracted from it, whatever, you just grant it the right to exist and acknowledge that it has benefit. It just has the right to be. I mean, and this is, for many, this will be the first step in stopping fighting reality. We fight what is all the time, and that is really, really dumb. I mean, it just is, and fighting it is just really kind of pointless, especially once we learn that everything brings blessing. But anyway, so say you've got this heart-heavy feeling, and you start out, this is kind of a mental thing in a way, what you're doing here, because your mind has been the thing that has shut you off from doing this. So you're telling your mind, look, this thing has a right to be, and I accept it, and I'm okay with it, so don't fight it. All right, so that's stage one, if you will. And once you get that accomplished, that lets you settle down in to the feeling, into the heart. You want to be with your feelings in your heart, always. Other times, maybe you can go and be elsewhere in your body or whatever, but stay out of the head. And right now, just be in the heart. And with whatever feeling it is, even if it's a solar plexus upset thing, you can still witness and observe that from the perspective of being in heart. See, when you're in heart, you're linked up with every molecule and atom and cell everywhere. You're in the center of creation. And so you don't have to be anywhere but right there, and you're everywhere. And if that doesn't make sense to mind, tough mind, you know, just mind your own business and shut up. Tell your mind that. I'm not telling you that. All right, so you just witness and observe. And at first, that's the most important thing to be able to do, is just to observe, not to try to change anything, to correct anything, not to try to outthink it, not to try to have any kind of expectation that you're going to be delivered from it, or that you're going to fix it, or that you're going to come to understand it. None of that. You sit down to cookies and tea, or biscuits and tea and cookies and milk, whatever. coffee and a cigarette. I don't care. You sit down with it. And you just be. Okay, because you know what this feeling is? It's a part of you that you have externalized because you've refused to allow it to be. It tried to talk to you from inside of you, but you denied that it was you. You refused to accept it. And so it's progressed a little bit and so on. That is neither good nor bad, right nor wrong, whatever. None of that stuff. We're not making value judgments here. We're just being. There's no judgment like that goes on in heart. There's discernment, there's wisdom, there's discretion, there's intuition, there's all of that, but there's not this judgment about things being good or bad. Everything's good if you want to look at it like that. Okay, so especially at first, I think I would just try to be with it and just watch. You don't have to identify with the feeling or not. You don't have to anything. You just be with it, allow it to be, and just observe. And that's really what I would practice on a consistent basis with my feelings. Okay, so let's say you've got a little bit of experience doing that under your belt. And you've learned how not to tinker. How just to allow a feeling to be there. And if you need to cry, then you cry. If you need to scream, then you scream. You know, you try to do no harm to anything to the best you can, but you don't stifle your feelings. You do this privately. And if you feel like there's somebody else involved and you really need to communicate with them, then you get out pencil and paper and you write, and then you burn it or something. I mean, keep other people out of this. You have externalized onto others something that is entirely your own. And you could send that letter, but you would be sad later if you did, when you got a few more steps down the road. So, you know, I journal. It helps a lot. But I'm not saying you have to do that either. It's just that that's an option for you if in being with the feeling. You'll know you have interior guidance. We have massive guidance systems. We have beings of light that hover and that are helping us all of the time. We're the ones shutting them out, folks. It's not that heaven, if you will, isn't there with a helping hand. It always is. But don't worry about that right now. Just be with your feelings. Okay, so you've gotten pretty good at this. It's okay to be down. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be resentful. It's okay to be non-forgiving. It's okay to be whatever it is. It's got the right to be. It is what it is. And get the ideas of your head out of this about what a good person is, what a good Christian or Muslim or atheist is. All those ideas, kick them out, you know. They aren't going to help you here. They're not going to do anything but muck up the turf for you. You're going for higher wisdom and intelligence here than 3D mind has access to. You have access to it, but it's through your heart. And so much of it is through your feelings. And you don't want to bring in the future like, oh my God, this is so heavy, this is so awful, it's like it'll never go away. You know, that's the mind again. Anytime you're looking at time, if anything that's going through you has anything to do with time, I promise you that is mind. Time doesn't exist the way mind thinks it does. So you can reject that. All right, so you just be with it and you surrender to it. You're surrendering to it. What you're surrendering is resistance to what is. This is what that looks like. You're surrendering resistance to that which is. And we try to paint a pretty face on it, and we try to make excuses for others or for ourselves. You know, we do all these things. It's all mental gyrations and gymnastics. If you want a shortcut into heart, this is it. Be with yourself. Be with your feelings. Now, I can't tell you what they're going to reveal to you, but they will. There's something there for you. It'll lift when you've got it. And by got it, I don't mean anything mental. It's almost like there are cylinders or things that are out of whack, and they need to adjust themselves to fit perfectly together. And you can feel that happening. And I don't know how much your conscious mind is going to be aware of what's going on here, but I will testify for you that it doesn't need to be. It's okay not to know diddly squat about what's going on. It's okay to just stick with the realm of feelings. Our feelings have a wisdom and an intelligence that we haven't been told about, we haven't been taught, that's higher than the mind, than the conscious mind. I don't know what, I don't know why. This is just how it seems to me. These are the best words I can join together for it right now. But make room for yourself. We have outlawed pieces of ourself and told them, go sit in the corner or get the hell off the planet. I never want to see you again. And we really can't get away with that, because as the frequencies are rising, the dimensions and everything, it's all coming together. I mean, I think maybe even the Andromedans have said 3D is like imploding. I've heard others say that the various dimensions and densities are kind of like merging. I don't know. I just know that frequencies are rising. That's apparent, and that's even measurable. I mean, you know, science is in on that. The Schumann frequency was what it was forever, 7.4 or whatever it was, and now it's not that anymore. And so frequencies are rising, things are changing that way. And it's bringing on changes in us, because these bodies that we wear, they are made of the stuff that the whole cosmos is made of. So what affects the cosmos affects the bodies equally. And your DNA emits light. Did you know that? Photons are emitted. DNA shines. It gives off light. And so what's happening is interacting with our DNA, one way or t'other. And it's my choice to believe that what's happening is that our junk DNA, what a name, so scientific, isn't it, is being activated, brought online. Who knows what that will bring? But the thing is, we're all disjointed, we're all out of whack, and we've done it to ourselves in various ways. Let's quit pointing the finger of blame, because the reality that underlies all of this is we did it all to ourselves because we're the only one that exists. I am that I am is the one being that is, that wears the many faces, the many guises and disguises, but it's just the one. So there's no committee that we can have assign blame somewhere that's not our own self. And the sooner we step up to the plate and accept that and say, okay, I'm going to be sovereign, and I'm going to say I rule here, and the buck stops here, and I'm willing to look at this, whatever it is. I'm willing to take some ownership here and at least be open to the possibility that I have played a part in this. That's a good place to start. You can go from there. Your inner guide will teach you. Christ is available within. The kingdom is within. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Mostly people go around all their lives in the mind. That's just where we abide. That's how the society is built and put together and maintained. And there aren't many opportunities that we don't reach out and grab for ourselves to step out of that. We could call it the matrix. And so, good evening. Whatever time of day it is isn't really relative to who you and I really are. There's no day or night for that. The light always shines regardless. So, what can I bring to you today except my own meditation, the things I'm working through? So, the tendency is to stay plugged into it. And yet we feel this pull in our soul, in our heart, in our being somehow. And so we have a deeper intuitive intelligence working there. And we come more and more as we're on the spiritual path, I'll use those words, to listen to that, to pay it heed. Sometimes it gets rather heavy in your heart or your energies, or you feel pulled down by something or things that you're learning, or, God forbid you spent some time with the media. That will pull anyone down. But anyway, I have a tendency to not run away from such feelings. And there are times when it will seem to drag on for a number of days and you just get tired of it. And I think there are times when I'm kidding myself about being willing to be with it. And so I thought I'd come and share